right, Morgan, so let's talk about the heating system.
Okay, so we have an oil-fired heating system, it's air system, so we call it forced air. It's got a blower fan that's going to be blowing the air through the home and supplying all of the home with this ducting. So we've got older ducting here, uninsulated ducting. So you're gonna wanna insulate the ducting. We do have an older style of insulation, which is basically just like a paper covering almost. And come over here so you can take a look. See that white stuff on there?
On the exterior
On
of
the
it?
exterior of the ducting, yeah. So that white stuff most likely contains asbestos.
Okay.
So asbestos was used commonly in lots of building materials. If it's disturbed, then it can release fibers into the air, which if you breathe those fibers, it could be harmful to your health.
Okay.
So in this situation where you have insulation like that on ducting, it can be very friable.
Okay.
Friable means how easy is it for those fibers to get released into the air. So if something is more friable, the fibers can easily go into the air. If it's something is less friable, it's less likely for that to happen. So you're gonna need to deal with this, which means
because this is exposed. So
this is exposed.
Is a health hazard.
And it's crumbling. So like if it was, EPA says if you have materials that contain asbestos, you can leave them in place and not disturb them. So for example, if you had like vermiculite insulation, I'm not a fan of that type of insulation. It's a pain in the neck to deal with, but if you leave it in place and you're not disturbing it, it would not release the fibers into your living space and you wouldn't be breathing them in.
Right.
If you go up into the attic and start mushing them around and everything, then you could really have a problem.
Okay.
So EPA says if it's there, you don't have to disturb it. But here I'm seeing, number one, I see it's all kind of crumbly on the outside. See where on the bottom side of it, like an edge of it, see that part is all crumbly?
Yep.
The other thing I'm noticing here is if you look deep up in there, I can see that the duct is actually disconnected. It's not fully disconnected, but it's like, if you come over here, you can actually see it as well. See the top of the duct isn't fully inserted into the duct that's above it.
So that could be going up into the air.
So you have to fix that, and just fixing that means you have to handle this material to get the duct in there.
Right.
So it's best to remove this material. And when I say remove it, I don't mean you remove it. I mean you have.
Are you sure?
You have a certified asbestos abatement contractor.
Okay.
First thing they would do is they would either tell you, let's test it, find out if it definitively contains asbestos, and once we know that, then we would remove it following all the proper procedures and disposal procedures. Or they might say, every time we see this, it contains asbestos, you might just skip the testing part and just deal with it.
Okay.
Now, another piece here that I see is come over here, come right next to me and look right up in there. Remember I told you it was disconnected partially?
Right.
You can see the section of ducting that goes up into the wall above here also has that material on it.
It does, yep.
So I know you guys said you might be doing some renovations. If you're doing renovations and you open up walls, you have to be careful because you don't want to be putting your hammer through that material.
Right.
So everywhere you open up walls, you just want to do some exploratory work first to see if there's ducting that has that insulation on it inside that portion of the wall, in which case you'd have to deal with it. If it's going up and it has that ducting on that material on it, and you're not disturbing it and you're not opening up that wall, then it's not really a hazard because it's not sucking the fibers in. If anything, it would be pushing it out because the ducting is under positive pressure when it's running.
This is exactly the type of stuff that you want to find out during home inspection because it has to do with health and safety.
Absolutely.
So thank you for pointing that out.
Absolutely.
So Morgan, you had mentioned that this was a specific type of framing and you said it was balloon framing, correct?
So we were seeing right up into that ducting. You can see how that ducting goes up into that cavity right there. That cavity is actually a wall that's right above us. And that wall is right above the main beam here. And you can actually see the wall stud right there.
Right.
And you can also see some rubble in here and some open gaps here. So this wall section right here probably looked like this right here until the electrician wanted to run some wires. And when the electrician ran the wires, they broke up the brick, left it in kind of a chunks of rubble, and now you have air spaces going up into that wall cavity, which could be a draft for like fire in the event of a fire.
Okay.
And that tells me that this type of framing that this home has is called balloon framing. So balloon framing is the style of framing that was common during the time this home was built, so like in the early 1900s, where the wall studs for the exterior walls and these interior walls came directly down on top of the beam and the sills.
Okay.
And then the floor was built on top of that. Whereas today we do what's called platform framing, where you build a platform and then you put the walls on top of the platform.
Okay.
So when you have a platform frame, you don't have those cavities where the air could go up or pests could go up or drafts from a fire.
Right, yeah, fire. It's like natural fire blocking.
So you have to add fire blocking if you have balloon framing in any of those spaces where there's open gaps. And that's really easy to do.
Right.
You can use mineral wool insulation where you just basically insert it into those gaps and fill them.
Okay.
You don't have to brick it up like this. This is the old original style.
I think they make like spray fire blocking too.
Okay, yeah. So, okay, we were talking about the heating system. So, funny situation here, the oil tank is empty.
Oh, no.
I know, it's like, you really want to be able to test the heating system, make sure it's working properly, make sure you're not getting any problems with the airflow, the heat, and also in the old oil-fired system, you want to make sure it's venting properly. So venting means how does the exhaust get through the whole system and out to wherever it needs to go. In this case, it's venting into the chimney. And so you got your oil burner. Oil comes from the tank through the oil feed pipe. The burner ignites the oil and then shoots that flame into a firebox liner, which is inside here. Okay. And then there's also a heat exchanger component. And then the blower fan blows air across that heat exchanger. That's what's heating the air and then up into the home. So now you got hot, warm air going through the home.
Okay.
But it's also going right by that combustion component. And that combustion component exhausts through this pipe. If there's a leak in that or damage to that or it's corroded or just old, then you could have a situation where the exhaust actually mixes with the air from the home, and now you have potential carbon monoxide or exhaust issues in the home, which you really don't want.
Certainly.
So that's like one of the main reasons why we want to be able to test the heating system. We want to make sure it works, but we want to make sure it works well, and we also want to make sure it's safe. In this case, we're not going to be able to do that because the seller didn't fill the oil tank.
So I think what you're trying to say is, like, if you're a buyer's agent or an agent helping your buyer, you always want to make sure the utilities are operational during your home inspection. Is that right?
Absolutely. So we send out a reminder that says things to do to prepare for the home inspection, make sure all the systems are functioning.
I wanted to ask you about this chimney in particular because I know a lot of times they're structural. What does this one look like to you?
Great question. So are you considering removing the chimney entirely?
It's definitely something that we've talked about, and we just wanted to make sure that it wasn't, paramount to the, integrity
All right,
of the
so
structure.
come on over here. One of the things we look for to determine if the chimney is structural is, number one, I know based on the time frame that this home was built that just wasn't a building practice at the time.
Okay.
By this time, by 1915, you really didn't use the chimney as a structural component.
Okay.
So we typically see structural use of a chimney in homes that are like turn of the century and earlier, where they would do something which is called corbelling, where they would actually build out the joints of the brick to support something like a beam. So it could be coming out like a shelf.
Okay.
Or sometimes in really old homes, we'll see the beam actually go right into the chimney.
Okay.
In this case, it's totally non-structural.
Okay.
You can also see how they framed around the chimney. So that's your header going across here to support the floor joist. Today, this header would be doubled because it's a structural member. And then oftentimes, if you're heading off a joist like this, then the adjacent joist that supports the header would also be doubled.
Okay.
But because this is old framing, they just didn't do it that way. I'm not saying you have to do that today, but if you take the chimney out or you do major renovations, your carpenter or builder would potentially want to double that up.
Okay.
So just kind of be aware of that.
So not structural, perfect. One thing I did want to ask about, because I know this also comes up a lot in home inspections, is like when there's gaps. So when something needs repointing, can you kind of go over what that means?
Yes. Unfortunately, this chimney is in good shape, so we don't have to
I know. Well, there's a little bit up there.
Oh,
like
yeah,
if there's
there
like
is.
gaps.
Look, see? Yeah. So you got some mortar joints that need attention. So mortar is used to build the chimney up so that it goes between all the bricks, and mortar deteriorates naturally from moisture. So moisture accumulates inside the chimney from exhaust. So exhaust has a moisture component in it. And also moisture comes into the chimney from the base of the chimney where the chimney goes into the ground. So it wicks moisture up. And here you can see that white stuff on there. That's called efflorescence. And that's degradation to the mortar. So when the mortar is like this, it's a little soft, but the chimney's in good shape, you don't have to do anything.
Okay.
But it's really common for us to come down and the mortar joints are deteriorated up to about here.
Right.
And the brick might start to degrade on the face. You can see a little bit of that here. But in that case, you should re-mortar those joints. And that's what people mean when they say repointing.
Repointing.
Or pointing.
And like a small job, like say you just need it, I mean, is that something do you need to hire a professional? Can you potentially do that yourself as a homeowner, just as like
That's
maintenance?
a great question. This particular home is right at the turn of the time frame between when we would see the introduction of more modern types of mortar, and that's a big deal because original mortars that were used in a lot of the old homes you see are lime-based mortar, meaning they used mortar that had lime in it. It was from even from things like oyster shells. And that lime-based mortar is different than Portland cement-based mortar, which is much more solid and less porous. And if you mix Portland cement-based mortar with old lime-based mortar, you're gonna have a problem. And this feels like a lime-based mortar right here, so it's not really something you can do as a homeowner.
Okay.
If you had like a more modern mortar, then you can do it as a homeowner because you're just getting some modern-based material from like a modern home supply store, mixing it up and mushing it into the joints. It's really not that complicated when you're not trying to make it look perfect and you're just trying to get those mortar joints fixed.
Okay.
I mean, technically you could mix up your own lime-based mortar and then fix this, but that would be a little advanced.
Okay. Good to know. Perfect.
You can be crushing some oyster shells, like.
That would be a little advanced.
Remember we were talking about the bulkhead outside?
Yep.
So when you come inside, you can see this is how they lock. So come on over this way so I can show you. So when all you gotta do is slide this bolt across and then now it's unlocked, slide it back across and now it's locked.
Okay.
So I'm gonna open it up right now, see if it's working properly. So unlock it, lift it up like this. So it's old and it's rusted, but it's doing its job. Okay. So you don't have to really do much here. Eventually you're gonna have to replace it, but for now you're okay. I would wire brush it and paint it just to protect it and give it a longer life. This is actually the original primer, this red color. Most people think that's like a finish color and most people leave their bulkhead doors this red color, but it's actually technically primed and not painted. So you're gonna wanna paint it just to get some extended life out of it.
Okay.
Somebody rebuilt the stairs. They're a little rough. They just used 2x6s for treads, so we kind of have a gap right at this inside section on each step going up. So I would definitely fill each tread with appropriately sized boards so you're not going to trip and fall into there. But it doesn't have to get fancy because you're going to be using this mostly probably for utility purposes. If you're using it all the time, like if you're like a cyclist and you bring all your bikes in, all that stuff, you might want to improve it a little bit for added access. Plus you have this big step here, which could really be a doozy. Wait a minute, what is this? I see. Whoa!
Oh, look at that.
That is some Yankee ingenuity.
Yeah.
So you got your fold-out step.
That's pretty cool.
So that's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah.
So that helps a little. It's a little shallow, but it's better. I mean, this is a classic old house style bulkhead. It's not as easily accessible as what we would do today if we were planning, because people utilize them a lot more. And they now make precast bulkhead steps. So the walls and the steps are all precast, and they actually get lowered in and bolted to the foundation. So you open the door here and you'd be all concrete, even the step, but it's all precast and put in. So, but this is fine if you just do the improvements that we talked about. Get rid of all the debris and crapola that's in here. That's not going to help you at all. And keep an eye out for mouse activity.
Okay. And I'm not seeing a drain here. Is that a problem? Because, a lot of these bulkheads, people hear that you can get water into the basement.
Right.
What would you suggest for
Usually we're gonna see water coming in when it's an exterior stair and like a door setup and not really a bulkhead door. Because the bulkhead door is designed to shed water. So if you're not leaving it open, rainwater that comes down on top of that bulkhead door should just shed right off and go next to it.
Okay.
If water is coming in, it might be coming in around, through the foundation walls or something, and in which case you would want to actually fix that situation.
Okay.
Most of the time with bulkheads, when we see water infiltration, it's like an old stone foundation and water's coming in through those stone joints and leaking into the basement.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. Is this something that would lead to pests getting inside, or is that something of concern?
Great question.
Yeah.
So I was just telling you that the bulkhead door is really designed designed to shed water, but it's not great at preventing pest infiltration. Because if you close this, you'll see like all these light gaps around here, because it's really just a metal cap on top of a metal frame.
Right.
And so it doesn't have any gasket seals or anything like that. And so mice can wiggle their way through. Or when we were outside, come on up here, we noticed there was actually a pretty big gap under the frame right here. So this is where mice are going to want to come in.
Oh, yeah.
When the door is closed. So you really want to make sure that the section behind you, where the door closes to the basement, is also tight and prevents pest infiltration.
Got it.
But also, of course, fill this in.
Yeah, and I see it looks like they put some spray foam out here. Would you say that's helpful?
Spray foam, it's helpful, but not awesome.
Yeah.
So I would use thick silicone bead of caulking here instead of the foam, because the foam will just degrade. And also, in this case, before I would even do that, I would use some of the foam. It's designed to, it's formulated to be pest resistant. And so this is just regular spray foam, but you can get the pest kind, and you spray that in there and then silicone caulk it. And then on the outside, you would use cement. So it would look nice and tight and it wouldn't degrade.
Okay.
Because when this stuff is exposed to ultraviolet light, it just crumbles. You've probably seen it outside where it's all dark orange and crumbly. So that's what happens if it's exposed to light. So what I would do here is I would fill that in and then cement on the outside.
Okay.